All right. Well, hi, Damian. How you doing?
Hey Jacob, I'm pretty good, thank you. How are
I'm
you?
doing good. I'm good. You just got off work, and I have a whole lot of work left to do tonight because we're gonna go get the theater
Oh,
ready tonight. So,
oh man. Yeah, I'm so sorry I can't be there. I checked out. The theater looks beautiful. The area looks beautiful. So I really wish I could be there. I'm sorry to miss it.
yeah, no, but still, I'm glad that we get to do these calls. This is
Yeah.
the eighth one I've been able to do, and
Oh
I
man.
I love it. I think this is great, especially for any filmmaker that doesn't get to make it out here. I still get a
Yeah.
chat, and we still get to have a good time. So I think it's good.
Yeah, totally. And I'll check out those other conversations. I'm excited to watch the other movies. Are those going to be online?
Yep.
Or like
So
during the
everything's
festival?
going to be at our YouTube channel, which
Cool.
is at GV Film Fest. So
Great.
you go to YouTube at GV Film Fest, and it'll be right there.
Great. I'll be sure to check that out.
Awesome. Well, Damien, you submitted a movie called Born Loser.
Jacob, I did.
um, what was the background that led up to the project? Like, how did all this happen?
Yeah. So I started making short films and stuff a couple years ago. Kind of, I do a lot of music stuff and I record audio for a lot of video. But I decided I wanted to try to make some of my own stuff. And I had some talented friends, most of whom helped out with the movie. The main actor, Nate Rosenstock, has been in pretty much everything else I've done. The guy who filmed it, Sebastian Buffa, has pretty much filmed everything else I've done. And the guy who helped edit it, Roshan Murthy, also helped on pretty much everything. So we'd been doing shorts for a few years, and then COVID came along, and I had a lot of free time because I work in events, and those kind of disappeared. So I thought it'd be fun to keep myself occupied and try to do a project. And we thought, hey, why don't we try like a longer project? And I think that the total runtime is like 65 minutes, so it's a feature, but barely. We actually had to look at the script was 73 pages, and I remember looking at someone told us to look at festivals to see what the requirement was for a feature, because they were like, you don't want to do all this work and find out it's a 75-minute requirement and then you can't submit anywhere. So yeah, I spent you know a month or two writing it during COVID, and then we just found. I think we shot for 8 days in the fall, um, and it was a blast. But I I wish I you don't know what you don't know, so like it was more daunting than we maybe anticipated. But it was really fun, and yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I probably 2019, me and my best friend, we were wrapping up shooting our first feature documentary, which we still haven't
yeah,
released.
yeah,
But we were wrapping up shooting that, and we're like, okay, well, what's next? Let's do our first narrative feature film. And I had
yeah,
written a play a long time ago. I rewrote it. We started shooting it. COVID happened. Then we had to go on hold for a little while. And then,
yeah.
finally got it out into the world. But yeah, you don't know what you don't know until you know what you don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's trying to work up the courage to do a second one. You're like, oh man, now we actually know what goes into this.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying a lot of different things for our next batch of feature. We're doing a couple different docs right now, which are
Cool.
very different than trying to
Yeah,
run actors and everything. Um,
yeah,
but I thought for a long time, I'm like, what is the absolute simplest way I can make a feature film? And
sure.
and so we're basically we sketched out a really tight outline for an improv feature, and we're
Cool.
not quite halfway done shooting it. But yeah, we're out there trying to figure out. Okay, that first one was hard. How do we make it easier?
Yeah, are you doing multicam for improv
No,
stuff? Okay.
yeah, it
Yeah,
would be nice.
that
That would be really
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So what we're doing
I mean, I
instead,
live in
we're shooting
oh, sorry, go ahead.
on the Blackmagic 6K Pro,
Cool.
and we're shooting it at 6K. And then
Hmm.
what? For one, we're trying to have some tight improv, um,
Yeah.
but and I just crop in and out on the image to add a little variety.
I'm a huge fan. Yeah, this we shot a past short on one of those Black Magics, and I we took advantage of that. But this, I think it was shot at 1080, and there's still some aggressive crop ins on a few shots because when we got to editing, we are like, oh man, we really wish we had
Yeah.
something. And it looks fun, like it's a couple seconds of a shot. Like, I don't know if anyone notices. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
If we offended you.
most people won't notice, but like when we're watching it, we're like, oh.
I know, yeah, you can. Well, unfortunately, I come from the audio side, so I'm much more concerned about when there's weird audio stuff where it's my camera friend and editing friend are the ones that this shot's a little out of focus. I'm like, I had no idea.
Yeah, the reason why it took me so long to get my first feature out is I was so mad at the sound, and mostly because
Yeah,
I had to teach myself how to edit it, and I was just
yeah.
yeah.
No, it gave me a lot of confidence when we first got into this and we took our first short around to little festivals in the Midwest. And yeah, the sound on a lot of other things we saw just wasn't great. A lot of stuff looked really fantastic, but ours was kind of the flip. I mean, it looked cool, but it was a mockumentary. It was supposed to be a little. But on the audio side, that's my whole background, so I can do that part and I can mix it and edit it. So I always feel pretty good about the sonics. But you guys just watched the movie, so maybe you disagree.
One of the features we're showing is a mockumentary that was shot on an iPhone and a couple GoPros.
Cool.
It's a really funny movie. It's too bad you don't get to be out here for that one.
I would, and I was jealous. I saw that you guys are having that luncheon on Thursday. I would love to to be there and meet everyone. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I think a lot of the filmmakers that are playing earlier before you, a lot of them are Arizona filmmakers that are going to be out there.
Cool.
But we still get to do this, so that's cool.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you taking the time.
So you said you did some short films before this. It's been a couple years. Yeah. What made you decide to start to do a feature?
Yeah, I think it was mostly having done a few shorts and with each of them trying to tackle something new. So, one was on tripods, one was handheld, one had more cast or a little longer or something. So this just kind of felt like the next thing to try. So I was pretty excited about that. We kept it very small cast, few locations. Maybe recognize my apartment is heavily.
I wouldn't have thought of it. But
we kept it close to home. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun, and I love shorts, but I watch a lot more movies than shorts. So I feel like being able to send it out to friends and be like, hey, we made a whole movie just feels, it's something that I got excited about.
So have you?
But they're hard. Yeah.
Have you screened the film anywhere yet, other than?
No. So yeah, we're just got into the festival process. So we were really thrilled to get accepted to Gila Valley. So this is actually going to be the first, outside of a rough cut that we screened for friends to get feedback on a couple months ago. That really helped us tighten up some of the edit and figure out where we were going wrong. This will be the first actual screening. So I'm doubly sad that I can't be there.
Yeah, I completely understand that. As we're trying to figure out the where we want to submit our docs once they're done.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there are. I don't know. My strategy is there's the Shoot for the Moon festival, and then the ones I can get to. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly. And a lot of what we submitted to were regional Midwest ones, but yeah, someone had recommended Gila Valley. It was someone who had screened at it, I think last year, because this is only the second year of the festival, right? I don't know which it was, but they spoke highly of it, so I'll track that down.
Yeah, I'd like to know who that was.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a funny the second short we all did. We were excited to put it out in the world, and we got into a few local festivals, and then COVID hit. So it was a drive-in screening in the winter in Chicago. It was a comedy, and they were like honk if you laugh kind of thing, but we just had no idea if anyone was laughing. So we're kind of sitting there in our car, like trying to make out if other people like it was dark out, so we're trying to look in other people's windows.
Trust me, we're not
So
weird.
yeah, exactly. We made it. Um, so yeah, we're one day we'll be able to see our work in public.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can't promise a big crowd, but it's going to be filmmakers watching that, so at least that much.
Yeah.
That much I can
Hey, I
say.
mean, so that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like getting, if it's a small, if you build a small community and it grows
Hmm.
from there.
For sure. So, what's next on the agenda for you? Do you have any other projects in the work?
Yeah. So we kind of with some of the same group. Unfortunately, not the same actors because he moved to New York. But we shot a new short film a couple weeks ago that we're editing. That is kind of a murder mystery comedy vibe. Which was really fun. We got to use 2 cameras, which was a first for me. So another like, hey, let's try something out. It's more of an ensemble piece, which is something that I hadn't done either. So we're editing that, and it's coming along nicely. I'm trying to talk myself into figuring out how to do another feature, and I have a script or two lying around that I had thought about trying to make in the past, but it was like, oh, this I think would be out of our trying to do it independently or DIY would be too tough for some of those. That there was a little more production value necessary. But I would love to make another movie happen. But in the meantime, yeah, probably going to try to do some more shorts and just get better and learn more. I mean, it's always, I feel like you learn so much on every project. That in the edit, you're always like, I wish I did that, and kicking yourself and asking who directed this.
I
So yeah, a couple more shorts.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, I kind of got to the point when so me and my business partner Joseph, who's we both created the festival when we were younger, high school and college. We made a lot of short films, and then I don't know, had to go be adults for a while. And now that we're back in the same town again and kind of settled into our jobs, we were like, okay, well let's start doing stuff again. So we started doing some YouTube, and then we went and we shot this stock, and then we started doing features, and I just got to the point to where I'm like, I know features are a lot of work, but I don't know that I have the patience to do shorts, which sounds backwards, right?
Interesting.
Because I just want to do
tell
the
me
big
more about
things
that.
now. I just want to go shoot for the moon, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which sounds backwards, but
yeah. I get you. I mean, I think one of the things that I really valued about doing the shorts is I mean, most of the people involved in all the stuff I've done are I've been trying not to say non-actors. They're, first time actors or new to the craft. And people that maybe work on corporate video or stuff like that. And kind of, so it's no one doing like narrative stuff professionally. But we've made a big point to just make all the shoots really fun. And so all these shorts, everyone's had a really good time, and everyone involved has always been like, hey, whenever you're doing the next one, just let me know. So when it came time to do the feature and we need to fill a room with extras, we have a lot of people that we've worked with that all enjoyed themselves. And also you get to test out new actors. And so it's been really fun for that. And on this new one, we had a whole new group of actors that I've never worked with, or some of them I had, but it was super fun. And now I'm excited to work with them all again. And the feature thing is like to work on it and then like squirrel away for a year. If they don't know movie making, they don't know how long something takes. So they're like, where is it? Like, why isn't it done yet? Like, we only shot for 8 days. Like, how long
right.
did it take?
Yeah, when I was editing, our first feature is called Ace of Hearts. When I was editing it, and I started doing all the deep dive and to figure out how to line up the audio, basically, with all the different tracks, so I could separate dialogue and sound and then whatever. I was like, yeah, I mean, trying to as an amateur, trying to mix for a theater is very different than doing it for YouTube, no matter how much editing experience you have.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. And this was my first time mixing a longer project, and I now I have a better workflow for that now than I probably did then. I'm using Pro Tools for the mix, but I was trying to break it into scenes and then re-import it into a bigger project with stems, and it was just kind of time consuming. And it's a stereo mix. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
5.1 or anything like that, but a lot of movies were in stereo for a very long time. They're still
Yeah,
pretty good.
I think when we did ours, I mean, it's just a stereo mix. We just had to create the other the other elements of the
Yeah,
5.1 with
yeah, you can make a back
nothing was
channel or
there
some.
or whatever so that we
Yeah,
could send it off to our distributor. But yeah, I still need to learn a lot
yeah.
about
No,
that.
that I'm interested. We haven't gotten to the level of like a distributor, but I reading technical requirements on stuff. I'm like, oh man, maybe the next one we should probably read all that in advance so we
Yeah.
know
Well, um
what we're.
so I have a friend that our distributor is a friend that he he's kind of a I don't know, he's kind of like us. He's got a day job, but he's also
Yeah,
just like I got to go do something else on the weekends. And so he started writing a bunch
yeah,
of and self-publishing a bunch of books. Then he started representing other people and helping them get theirs published. But
cool.
he lives out in West Coast. He would, drive down to Atlanta and go, be an extra a little bit in something like The Walking Dead or something like that. So he started to get
Yeah,
some acting experience. Then he started making his own. And then he had a friend come to him. And with everything that happened with Distributor and all the other not the best, just, aggregators out there, um, he
sure.
had a friend that probably had about 20 different movies that he owned that
Whoa.
was just like, yeah, no, everything just went wrong. We need a new guy. Why don't you be our guy? And so he's like, oh,
Whoa.
okay. So, and this is all during COVID, like basically right after we had shot our movie. He's like, I guess I'm going to start
Yeah.
distributing movies now. And so we were able to get in contact with him and he was able to represent us. And he's big enough
Cool.
that he carries a little more weight than, one solo filmmaker by
For
themselves.
sure.
But if you want us to get in contact, if you want to get in contact with him, I can set you up.
Oh man, yeah, that would mean the world. Yeah, I one thing that I was really drawn to about movie making versus I record a lot of bands in Chicago, and the process of getting music out there is like, I mean, I know getting movies out there is really tough, but just the film festival infrastructure is really appealing to me. That like, there's all these organizations like your own that will take the time. I mean, yes, you pay a little bit of money, but you take the time to watch it and give it a fair shake. And I think maybe there's less feature films than there is music just because of the time that goes into it. Um, but that, yeah, I was like, oh, that's a very exciting thing that there's all these organizations around the country and I guess the world doing this. Yeah, but I mean, the idea of people seeing it is so cool. Like, I definitely have tried to keep the mindset that like even if no one in the world sees it, it was just like for us, it was still worth the time and still fun. And I don't think there's a better way to spend your time. Um, but hopefully people see it too and
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
it.
no, oh man, it's so nerve wracking. we
Yeah, no,
we had so one of the actors in our movie, he knew a locally owned theater, and so we were able to screen our
cool.
movie at this theater for like a week because it's one screen theater.
Yeah,
They show one movie for a week and they do like 4 screenings, and so we drove up there.
cool.
Um, I learned a lot about how like the legit projectors work. That was cool. And my
Sure.
DCP did not work. So they basically ended up playing the Blu-ray, but which we had
Right.
to do all sorts of weird stuff so that color would even show right. But it was an interesting
Yeah.
experience to be there for one of the showings, and we did, you know, a small little Q&A afterwards. But man, it just stresses me out so much watching it with the crowd. Comedy
Yeah.
would be different. Comedy would be different because you're expecting like the audible laughs, and if they don't happen, you're just like dying inside.
Hmm.
We made a drama, so it's
Yeah.
not like you're not going to be hearing a
Yeah.
response. But if there is no response, I would just kill. That'd be so stressful.
Right. Yeah, it can make you freeze up inside. Yeah, the few times we've done it, yeah, I've been nervous as hell. I mean, I'm not a performer by any stretch. Like I don't like to act. I don't like to play music. I record other people. I'm happy to write the stuff, but if other people say it, but yeah, the watching it with people with comedy though, what I'm excited about, and one of the reasons why I'm desperate to see this with a crowd is most of the times the things I think are the funniest in what I do, like doesn't get that much of a thing, and it's like some offhand thing that I was like, is that? And like, so it's just, yeah, you never know what people are actually going to respond to, and things that I was like, this is going to crush. Even when we did the screening of the rough cut, there was a part that we were just like, oh, they're in this in the car that Meg is driving, bringing the guy to go get surgery, and we were like, this part is great, and we were worried about the end, and then all the feedback was like, yeah, this part dragged a little or something, and we just saw it with fresh eyes in a way that we're like, oh, cool, like, and we were able to cut, a few minutes out, and it made it better. But I was just so confident that like this part is just absolutely doing everything that I wanted.
I thought the running gag with Meg was funny.
Thank you. Well, partly it was, I mean, I'm a big fan of her. She's in a couple great bands in Chicago that I've recorded. She's a fantastic musician, but also having less actors is really helpful. If you can just have one person do most of it.
It's a nice little bit. It's a nice little bit. Everywhere you go, she's there.
Thank you. Yeah. And I tried to talk myself into being it like thematically appropriate, but also not a character. I mean, that's her real voice and her normal hairdo and all that.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely easier if you're working with someone that doesn't have a lot of acting experience. It's just have them be themselves.
Just be themselves. Yeah, that's most of. It seems. I mean, I don't know. We haven't tried too many things where people are really stretching themselves. Maybe on the next one, but I mean, I'd be curious about trying to do a drama for that reason of like trying to get people that space, and it seems like you need at least people that are willing to be actors rather than just I'll play myself on a movie or something.
Yeah, I mean, acting. I mean, I am a trained actor, but I
was going to say, yeah, do you act at all, Jacob?
Yeah, I started in theater. But as fun as it is to do the improv, I really enjoy improv because I don't know what I'm going to say. And whatever. So like me and Joseph, we're the leads of our next narrative feature. It's called Henchmen. The basic premise is, cool. Two guys go on the run from the mob and hide out in the small town, and they run into a bunch of quirky characters, but we're the main characters. And reason being so that, it's two less people we have to get on set. Right. But we also have a whole lot of experience with doing improv with each other. And even though it's been a long time since we've done it, it was surprising some of our crew that, I'm directing and he's DP and then we're on camera. So like we get everything set up, we light, we whatever, and then we shoot, and we haven't rehearsed. We just jump on camera and people are watching. They're like, oh, no, that was kind of good. It's not that we're great, but we spent a lot of time in the past developing those skills. And even though we haven't done them lately, we already did the work to learn how to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you can't fake that charisma. I mean, maybe you can if you have all the chops in the world, but I think that it goes so far when people are comfortable with each other. We ran into a funny situation with that on a past short. I mostly have done the sound, but for a short, another guy I know was willing to do sound. He's a good sound person, and he came on, and we'd never worked together. And later, he was like, "Man, like." You're like the cast really is coming together, a lot of chemistry. And I was like, oh, they've all known each other for years and years. And he had no idea. He thought I was just doing a really good job. I was like, no. I got like they're just friends.
Which helps a lot. So,
oh yeah. That's definitely on my like to-do list, is working with people that I haven't worked with before at some point. Because I think that's its own skill set, and trying to still make people comfortable and feel safe.
So are you in Chicago itself, or are you outside a little bit?
Yeah. No, I'm in the city. I'm in a neighborhood called Uptown, which is north of downtown by a little bit, which makes sense. But yeah, most of it was filmed right around here. I've lived in Chicago for 10 years, but I've been in this neighborhood for a couple years now. And it pays off in the sense that, like, partly Chicago now, I mean, there is a lot of filmmaking here, but it's not obviously the same industry town as New York or LA. So I was able to go to the local corner store and be like, can I give you like $100? Could we come in and film for a few hours, like before you open, like the local liquor store? And they're like, yeah, totally. Like, come on in. And that's really nice and I think that you don't, there's benefits to staying in a place for a long time and getting to know your neighborhood and all that. And most of it was, shot in and around where I live and walk every day. So I always get a kick out of seeing those streets.
Yeah.
And they're specifically Chicago to me without having to show
Right.
the Bean or the Hancock Tower.
Yeah, the things that anybody would recognize and say, oh, no, Chicago.
Right. It's like generically Chicago. Having a sense of place like seems, I mean, it's what's cool, I think, about a lot of DIY filmmaking is you get a lot of place.
What term do you like to describe what you do? You just said DIY filmmaking. Do you like that? Micro budget, low budget? Yeah. What do you like to call it?
I guess, I mean, any of the above. It's all by circumstance. Like, I don't know if it's by choice. Like, if someone's like, hey, we have $1 million, I'd be like, great, I'm no longer a DIY filmmaker. That would be incredible. But no preferred terminology. So, because the Gila Valley micro budget, right? That's what
we wanted to find a niche that we could do well. And it's like, well, we make micro budget films. Let's just cater to that.
Right. Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, I think there's no better way to learn and get better at something. I've heard some horror stories of people that, either put up a lot of their own money or got people to give them money, but they didn't really have the experience. And then there's all that pressure, and that to me sounds terrifying. So I kind of want to work my way slowly up and just tackle something slightly bigger each time.
Yeah. What was the budget, if you don't mind me asking, for yours?
No, not at all. I think it came in at $14,000, which was so much money. And it was because I got this like small business grant kind of randomly. The train had left the station and we were going to do it on favors. So I think my initial plan was like $5,000, and it was going to be a lot of favors. And instead, this grant came through, which was fantastic, and that just let me give the actors a little bit of money and pay the camera person a little bit. And we rented one of the apartments is an Airbnb that we rented that the actors stayed at. I was able to take everyone out to dinner and lunch and like not sweat it, which just made it a way less stressful experience. But to me, I mean, looking back, maybe I should have bought a car or something instead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes I kick myself and like, what were you thinking? But
I think we know the real priorities. It's can I make a movie?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The more and more I think about it, I'm like, okay, so I should probably plan my movie based on how much money I think I could get back. That would be the smart business choice, but it's probably not the choice I'm going to make.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if anyone's trying, like, especially in this kind of world, I feel like if the main goal is to make money, like, there's so many easier ways. I know it's kind of cliche, but, so just hope that if you make something good, I mean, that being said, the idea of learning more about the film business is of interest to me, but I kind of wanted to wait a little bit until I had some stuff that I could be like, cool, now I'm going to get into it. And I this is what I can do. And yeah, a big thing for me, the video company I do some sound for here, since doing this stuff, they've gotten some commercials that I got to direct, which are small business commercials, but they wanted something kind of funny. And we're about to do a second one in the coming month. And that was like, hey, maybe there's a way to to do this more professionally in some sense.
Yeah. Well, good luck with
Which is
that.
really exciting.
That's exciting. We
Thank you. Yeah.
uh I'm an English professor at a small community college,
Oh,
and
cool.
my business partner, he's a technician. He goes and he fixes trucks at mines. So that's what we do. And we have
Very cool.
other friends that we're slowly trying to bring in as many people from our area that do filmmaking. And so we have a friend
Yeah.
that he's at NAB right now because he I don't know, he's gotten Tilta's attention with all the different stuff he rigs out because he's always
Okay.
figuring out different stabilized systems and whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but he's a cameraman. He shoots a lot of commercials. He also works at a mine, and so we're just trying to bring in as many people as possible. And like he shoots a lot of commercials, and there's a part of me that's just like, you know what, I I know we could make money that would help us make movies if I spent more time on that, but I
Yeah.
don't really want to spend my time working for other people. So I'm shooting myself in the
Yeah. No,
foot by not doing the things
I'm
that'll
right
help
there
me.
with you.
But I don't know. I have a day job.
Yeah, I get you, and I mean, English professor is my like secret other dream at some point. um, yeah, and these commercials were definitely for like small local businesses. So I've seen the ones where they're shutting down streets and have tractor trailers, and that seems great while also seeming really stressful. But these have been we have like a 5-person crew instead of a 2-person crew, and even that is
Yeah.
very exciting for me. Having a lighting person is great. Uh, yeah, I'm curious about the English, like how that led into movie making, because I feel like I love novels. They're like probably my favorite art
Mhm.
form, maybe, but those seem more daunting than filmmaking. I think I like the collaborative part of like
Yeah.
you're the only one that's responsible for a novel,
You have a lot more
which sounds
control.
terrifying.
So I
More control, but then you can't stop yourself either. Like you don't know when you're going wrong, and you don't get the benefit of other
yeah, that's
people's
true.
brains.
So the way I got into it, I did a lot of theater, and then when theater wasn't like when we were between plays or something, it's like we still wanted to do something, so we got a camera and started running around shooting stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and when I got older, I realized I didn't need a film degree to do stuff,
yeah,
and so I studied English. So I studied like creative writing and literature, which eventually led
yeah,
to teaching. But I had this background in theater and in filmmaking, but I can bring it all kind of together with the teaching. So
yeah. It's huge. I mean, I just think, yeah, books get into just a different type of storytelling that can be more interior, which is really cool. Uh, and then movies are obviously so not literal, but
you have to be able to see it, not just
yeah, different part of
you
the
have to
brain.
know what's in their head.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and yeah, sometimes reading books be like, what would this be like as a movie? But then you're like, wait, it's just 20 pages of in this person's
Yeah,
head. Like he's just sitting on a couch the whole time.
yeah. I remember reading the Harry Potter books. Getting to the third one, I'm like, this is the first one
Mm,
that's written to be a movie.
yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. That they kind of she realized like, hey,
I mean, it was
I
set
should
up
do it separately.
differently. The way it hooks in the beginning. It's just like it was more cinematic. It's more cinematic.
I've found that with a lot of magazine articles. You can kind of tell the kind of like Esquire GQ pieces that they're like, we are only writing this so it
Yeah.
can be optioned. Um, it's like a very kind of specific thing, and it sometimes it reads false to me because the ones that are the best, like exist as the magazine piece or whatever. But you can kind of feel someone's
If I
ambition
was
behind
smart,
it.
that's what I should be doing. But I'm not.
Yeah, where's that true crime story in the Gila
Oh
Valley that we
man,
can?
yeah. So my movie was kind of a neo film noir. So I mean, we
Cool.
adapted it to kind of fit the actual crime you'd actually see here. But
Yeah.
yeah, everybody has their problems, even the small little area.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
Well, I wish I could talk forever. This has been so much fun. Like I said, it's been fun to talk to everybody. And I just wish, like, can everyone just be
Yeah.
my friend from here on out? This is what I want. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely stay in touch, and I can't wait to see the rest of the stuff. And I'd love to check in after the festival and hear how it goes. And I'll be sure to watch the other interviews. And yeah, thanks again, Jacob. This is super cool. I like it. It means a lot. Uh, yeah, like there is definitely a world in which I was like, we're gonna submit to all these festivals, and we might not get into any of them.
Well,
So I was like, it made me like it's you do it for yourself, but you also hope other people,
yeah, for sure.
enjoy
Well,
it.
I enjoyed it. I'm excited to show it. And hopefully the crowd enjoys it too.
Thank you. Thank you, and yeah, to the crowd, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it, and hopefully we'll have
Yeah,
something for you
perfect.
next year, and can
Yeah, that'd be
actually
great.
come this time.
All right. Well, we'll have to just email and keep talking offline. All right.
Great. Thanks so much,
Thank
Jacob.
you.
Take care.